What if a movie was so sick, so cruel, so brutally honest, that it got banned in over 40 countries and its director was murdered shortly after? Welcome to Salò, or the 120 Days of Sodom, the most shocking, twisted, and censored film ever made. Director, Pier Paolo Pasolini. Based on the book by the Marquis de Sade. Setting, Fascist Italy, 1944. Plot, 4 rich Italian fascists abduct 18 teens and subject them to sadistic abuse, torture, and death, all with a smile. Pasolini wasn't just making a horror film. He was making a political statement wrapped in hell. Ante inferno, ante inferno. In 1944, in the Republic of Salò, the fascist and Nazi-controlled portion of Italy, 4 wealthy men of power, the Duke, the Bishop, the Magistrate, and the President agree to marry each other's daughters as the first step in a debauched ritual. They rule that when they get to the mansion, their daughters must be completely naked at all times. They recruit 4 teenage boys, Bruno, Fabrizio, Claudio, and Ezio, as collaborators, guards, in the Decima Flottiglia Maz, and 4 young men, black-shirt soldiers, called studs, who are chosen because of their large penises and good looks. The teenage guards and fascist secret police, Overa, are sent out to round up young victims, of whom 9 teenage boys and 9 teenage girls are picked and brought to a palace near Marzabotto. One of the boys tries to escape on the way, but is shot dead. Circle of Manius, Girone delle Mani. Accompanying the libertines at the palace are 4 middle-aged prostitutes, also collaborators, whose job it is to orchestrate debauched interludes for the men, who sadistically exploit their victims. During the many days at the palace, the 4 men devise increasingly abhorrent tortures and humiliations for their own pleasure. During breakfast, the daughters enter the dining hall naked to serve food. One of the studs, Efficio, trips and rapes Liana, the Duke's elder daughter, in front of the crowd, with the fascists and collaborators, who laugh at her cries of pain, aside from Ezio, who is secretly very distressed by the ordeal. Intrigued, the president moons several victims, as well as several collaborators, including his favorite stud, Rinaldo, before prompting Efficio to perform anal sex on him, while the Duke sings Sul Ponte di Pirati. Signora Vaccari uses a mannequin to demonstrate to the young men and women how to properly manually stimulate a penis, only for Rinaldo to insult her for doing a poor job. After breakfast, one of the victims who had previously tried to escape is now shown dead to the crowd, ensuring that the victims do not try to escape early on. After another story, 2 victims named Sergio and Renata are forced to get married after one of the studs, Guido and Signora Vaccari, forcefully masturbate them. The ceremony is interrupted when the Duke fondles several victims and prostitutes, with the studs and collaborators laughing at the display. At the end, Sergio and Renata are forced to fondle each other, and the men rape them to stop them from having sex with each other. During this, the magistrate engages with the Duke in 3-way intercourse. On another day, the victims are forced to get naked and act like dogs. When one of the victims, Lamberto, refuses, the magistrate whips him and tortures Susanna, the president's daughter, by tricking her into eating a slice of polenta containing nails. Circle of Shit, Girone della Merda. Signora Maggi relates her troubled childhood and her coprophilia. As she tells her story, the president notices that Rinaldo has an erection and fondles him while Guido uses a female victim's hand to masturbate. She also explains how she killed her mother over a dispute about her prostitution, and Renata cries, remembering the murder of her own mother. The Duke, sexually excited at the sound of her cries, begins verbally abusing her. The Duke orders Efficio and the guards to undress her. During this, she begs God for death and the Duke punishes her by defecating on the floor and forcing her to eat his feces with a spoon. The president leaves to masturbate. Later, at a mock wedding reception for the magistrate and Sergio, the victims are presented with a meal of human feces, which the studs, prostitutes, and masters eat without question. During a search for the victim with the most beautiful buttocks, Franco is picked and promised instant death. This is quickly revealed to be a cruel form of psychological abuse by the bishop, who spares him on the promise of a far more painful death in the near future. Circle of Blood, Gironi del Sangue. Later, there is a black mass-like wedding between the studs and the men of power, while the latter are dressed in drag. The men angrily order the victims to laugh, but they are too grief-stricken to do so. The pianist and Signora Vaccari tell dark jokes to make the victims laugh. The wedding ceremony ensues with each man of power exchanging rings with a stud. After the wedding, the bishop consummates the marriage and receives intense and passionate anal sex from Guido. The bishop then leaves to examine the captives in their rooms, where they start systematically betraying each other. Claudio reveals that Graziella is hiding a photograph. Graziella reveals that Eva and Antonisca are having a secret sexual affair. Victim Umberto is appointed to replace Ezio, who is shot to death for having sex with one of the staff and revealing himself to be a communist. Toward the end, the remaining victims are called out to determine which of them will be punished. Graziella is spared due to her betrayal of Eva, and Rino is spared due to his submissive relationship with the Duke. Those who are called are given a blue ribbon and sentenced to a painful death, while those who have not been called, as long as they keep collaborating with the libertines, can hope to return home. The victims huddle together and cry and pray in the bathroom. They are then taken outside and raped, tortured, and murdered through methods such as branding, hanging, scalping, burning, and having their tongues and eyes cut out. As each libertine takes his turn to watch as a voyeur, the soldiers shake hands and bid each other farewell. The pianist, looking out an open window, suddenly realizes with horror what atrocities are being committed, and climbing out, throws herself to her death. As the torture continues, Bruno and Claudio dance a simple waltz together. Claudio asks the name of Bruno's girlfriend back at home, to which he replies, Margarita. Salò didn't just cross the line, it burned it to ashes. 1. Graphic content. Brutal torture, rape, and execution. Forced consumption of feces. Naked children treated as property. 2. Political symbolism. The abusers represent the fascist elite. Victims equals common people under fascist control. Sadism as a metaphor for political corruption. 3. Child exploitation allegations. Though actors were of legal age, the film looked like it involved minors. Many scenes were deemed too real even by censors. Italy. Banned, then allowed, then censored. UK. Banned until 2000. Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. Outright bans. USA. Heavily censored. North Carolina, 17. Some countries still refuse to screen or sell this film. Others blur scenes, cut entire sections, or label it illegal pornography. Just weeks before its premiere, Pasolini was found murdered, run over by his own car. The official story: a robbery. But many believe it was an assassination revenge for what Salò exposed. Some say Salò was the ultimate act of artistic rebellion, and it cost him his life. Critics still argue, is it art or depravity? Quentin Tarantino, Gaspar Noé, and others call it a masterpiece. It remains banned, censored, or hidden in many countries. It's taught in film schools. feared by governments, and remembered as the film that dared to show power at its ugliest. Salò is not a movie you watch. It's a movie you survive. Follow or subscribe the channel for more stories of banned films that shook the world, and leave a comment. Should Salò have ever been made?